I'm Vicki. I'm a physical therapist with Regional Physical Therapy. And today I want to talk to you about the number one question that I get asked as a physical therapist. The question is whether or not to use heat or ice following an injury. So I'm going to tell you how to make that decision. When you get an injury, what happens is the tissue becomes torn and begins to bleed. So you want to slow that bleeding down by always using a cold pack to slow the bleeding. The first 48 to 72 hours following an injury, you always want to use a cold pack. After the 72 hours, you can then switch and alternate using heat before you exercise or before an activity, and always follow that activity with a cold pack. So for the first 48 to 72 hours, you always want to use a cold pack. After the 72 hours, you want to alternate heat before an activity or exercise and ice following the activity or exercise. Today, I'm going to show you how to make an economic cold pack at home so that you always have one available anytime you need it following an injury. You'll need several things. I want you to have 2 Ziploc baggies, and the size doesn't really matter. Larger Ziploc baggies are just fine. They'll handle larger body parts. Smaller Ziploc baggies will handle smaller body parts. We're going to use water and standard rubbing alcohol. The ratio that we're going to use is 2 parts water to 1 part alcohol. So the first thing that we're going to do is pour the water into the Ziploc baggie. I use 2 cups of water here because of the size of my baggie. Now I'm going to use 1 part rubbing alcohol and add it to my water. I'm going to Ziploc up the baggie, removing as much air as I can get out. Oftentimes these bags will have a small leak. This one does. So you're always going to double bag your cold pack. That way if it springs a leak, you always have protection from making a mess in your freezer. Squeezing out all of the air, double Ziploc it. Flatten out the baggie and put it in your freezer overnight. I have one made up that I put in the freezer yesterday, and as you can see, it has a malleability that will form to different body parts. You can form it to your shoulder, knee, wrist, and that way it forms nicely around the body part and can give uniform ice. That's a great cold pack to have on hand. For your hot pack, this is a hot pack that a patient made me years ago and I love it. It is a bag that she made, which at home you can use a sock or a pillowcase, whatever works, and you're going to put long cooking rice. It's really important not to use the quick rice, but the long cooking rice for home. Fill the sock up or the pillowcase up, tie it off, or put a rubber band around it, whatever, so that the rice won't spill. And then you're going to take the bag and put it in the microwave for 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, till it's warm enough. When you take it out, it'll form really nicely to whatever body part you need to put the hot pack on. So remember, you're always going to do cold pack for the first 48 to 72 hours. After that, you're going to alternate your heat and your ice.